So in the last session, we have find out module for a helical gear and then optimized module considering wear strength is equal to beam strength. So that was the criteria. Actually, SW was less than SP. So gear design of a helical gear should be based on pitting failure, but for optimization of the gear, we increase the wear strength up to beam strength, and then we find out the module. Now we'll find out the hardness. So to calculate hardness, required surface hardness for a stage 2, SW, that is 1158 mn square, is equal to dp/bqk divided by cos square psi, where dp is what? Pitch circle diameter of a pinion, b is face width, q is gear to threshold, k is load stress factor, psi is a helix angle. So from this, after putting the value of Mn and after finding out dp/bqk in terms of Mn, we can find out k is equal to 2.38 and it is equal to 0.16 Bhn by 100 square. So after that Bhn is equal to 385. After that Bhn is equal to 385. Okay. So after the heat treatment, the stage 2 gear should have surface hardness at least 385 Bhn or greater than that. So for that purpose, decision regarding heat treatment. So now for a stage 1 is of a consists of helical gears. Required Bhn is equal to 385. For stage 2, there are spur gears. Required Bhn is 425. So for the gears, one should select the heat treatment process such that though the surface of the gear tooth is hard at the core, the gear should be tough enough to sustain the shock load, because gears always undergo cyclic loading. So failure will be, obviously it will be a fatigue failure. So they should be tough enough to sustain the shock loading. You know various heat treatment processes such as carburizing, nitriding, carbonitriding, flame hardening, and induction hardening. Okay. So based on a convenience, heat treatment selected is a flame hardening. So for this purpose, you refer the page 2.9 from HMT design data book. So these page numbers are also available, and from this design data book, this information is extracted, and this information is what material we have selected. C45 for a pinion, and for a gear material is C35 Mn75. So hardening temperature in degree Celsius, then quenching medium for that is a cooling, and tempering temperature are given. So according to that, for a material C45 for a pinion, hardening temperature is 830 to 860 degrees Celsius. For quenching medium is water or oil, and tempering temperature is 530 degrees Celsius to 670 degrees Celsius. Then for a gear material, it is C35 Mn75. Hardening temperature is 840 degrees Celsius to 880 degrees Celsius. Again, quenching medium is water or oil, and tempering temperature 530 degrees Celsius to 760 degree Celsius. Now, again, from page number 2.12 from a design data book and 1.38 in a design data book, the hardness achieved after the heat treatment. It is Rockwell hardness and Brinell hardness is given. So for a pinion which is of C45, this Rockwell hardness is 55 to 61 and Brinell hardness is 544. For a gear, material is C35 Mn75, hardness, Rockwell hardness is 51 to 57 and Brinell hardness is 504. So now referring required BHN for stage 1 and stage 2 gears, what is calculated hardness? It is 385. You can see here. It is for a stage 1, it is a 385 and for stage 2, it is a 425. And after heat treatment, BHN is what? Brinell hardness number. So hardness achieved is 544 and 504. So 544 is greater than 385 and 504 is greater than 425. So hardness should be minimum equal to calculated hardness or it should be greater than that. So it is achieved by the heat treatment. So we can say that required hardness is achieved by flame hardening. So the flame hardening is suitable heat treatment process for both stages of gear pairs. Okay. Then after design of a gear, after deciding heat treatment, next we'll mount these gears on the shafts. So next part will be design of a shaft. So from 1.10 from a design data book. So referring the table, specifying typical uses of generally used steel grades, we will identify C40 as the grade of steel most suitable for the shaft. So from this table of 1.12 from a design data book, for C40, SUT, that is the ultimate tensile strength, is 640 Newton per mm square. SYT is the yield strength is equal to 380 Newton per mm square. Now already we have studied design of a shaft, that we design a shaft using design that is ASME code. So from ASME code, obviously keyways will be present over here. Keyways are there. Keys we use for a locking purpose. So the formula, when keyways are present in the shaft, then by ASME code, formula for tau permissible is equal to 0.75 into zero point 0.3 into SYT or 0.75 into 0.18 into SUT. We select whichever is the minimum value. Correct? So yield strength is how much? 380 and ultimate tensile strength is 640. So after putting this value, we will get answer 85.5 and 86.4. So we are going to select the lower value. So tau permissible is equal to 85.5 Newton per mm square. So now which manufacturing method is suitable? For a shorter shafts with limited number of steps, forging is the best suitable manufacturing process. For this reference is a Hajra Chowdhury. In forging, grains lines are aligned properly, which results in increase of strength. Also, in forging, there is no wastage of a material, so we'll use manufacturing method for a shaft as a forging. Okay, next, now actual formula for designing of the shaft means we find out diameter of the shaft. So you know formula, d cube is equal to 16 divided by pi tau permissible under square root kbmb plus pd by 8 square plus ktmt square. Okay, so where kb and kt are combined shock and fatigue factor for a bending and torsion, and alpha is a column action factor and P is a axial load. So in the absence of axial load on a shaft, this is the usual formula we use when there is no axial loading on the shaft, and that formula is d cube is equal to 16 divided by pi tau permissible under square root kbmb square plus ktmt square. So for reference 7.21 in a design data book, this gives the value of kb and kt. So we will select the kb and kt for revolving shaft and for gradual loading. So kb is equal to 1.5 and kt is equal to 1. So according to that, d cube is equal to 16 divided by pi tau permissible under square root 1.5 mb square plus mt square. Correct? And you can find out now diameter of the shaft. Then shaft arrangement is shown over here for a stage 1. Correct? and this is a stage 1, 2 gears, stage 2, next 2 gears. So here is a input shaft, and here it is a input shaft, and here there is a gear 1 or a input helical gear is mounted on the input shaft or driving gear. Then driving gear is meshing with a driven gear, that is a helical gear. It is mounted on the intermediate shaft. On the same intermediate shaft, there is a spur gear is mounted. So gear 2, let us, if we are giving the numbering for a input gear 1, which is in contact with this input helical gear, that is gear 2. On an intermediate gear, another gear is also mounted, that is a spur gear, that is a number 3. And this gear 3 is meshing with output gear, output spur gear 4, which is mounted on the output shaft. So input shaft, input gear. Intermediate shaft, driven gear of first stage, and input gear of second stage. Fourth gear is on the output shaft. Correct? So gear 2 and 3 will rotate on the with the same speed. Now this portion is the casing. Okay. So now distance x, this distance x, this distance x is equal to distance between the gear and nearby shaft, that is output shaft, because there should be a clearance between shaft and a gear. They should not touch each other, right? So that distance is equal to CD minus AB. Where CD is what? CD is the center distance between gears 3 and 4, that is stage 2 gears, and AB. So CD is equal to D3 plus D4 divided by 2. So CD, after putting the values of piece circle diameter of D3 and D4, which already we have calculated in the design of a helical gear, correct? Sorry, design of a spur gear, because they are stage 2 gears, it is 198. And what is AB? You can see AB is what? It has started from intermediate shaft to end of the gear. So it is radius, AB is radius of gear 2. So it is 186.34. So X is, now you can calculate CD minus AB. Okay. Then next, from a reference 8.63 in a design data book, distance between and gear and shaft X should be greater than or equal to 20 mm. So this is the thumb rule. So but here how much we have calculated? It is less than 20 mm. So current arrangement is not valid. So it is necessary to increase the value of X at least equal to 20 mm or greater than that. Okay. So to increase X to make it greater than or equal to 20, one has to increase the distance CD. So to increase the center distance of a stage 2 gear, one has to increase piece circle diameter of a gears in stage 2, that is gears 3 and 4. Now, how will you increase the piece circle diameter? Obviously, for increasing piece circle diameter, we have to increase module, because module piece circle diameter always in terms of a module. What module we have calculated? It is a 6 mm. So increase it to next standard module. What is next standard module available in the series of a module? That is 7 mm. Okay. So now increase the module from 6 to 7 mm and we will get D3 126 mm, D4 336 mm. So now we will calculate again CD minus AB. And after increasing the module, it is 44.66. So now x is greater than 20. So the new arrangement is valid. Now you have calculated 6 mm, but when we are considering gearbox as an assembly, that module is not giving me the feasible result. So I have to increase the module, I have to increase piece circle diameter, and for that purpose, I have to increase the module. Now this module will use as a standard module, that is instead of 6 mm, now it will be 7 mm. So now generally face width is assumed 10 times the module, or so now as module is a 7 mm, so it will be 70 mm. But to limit the axial size, we will limit this up to 60 mm. Okay. So now to increase the piece circle diameter of stage 2 gears, one way we have already seen, that is to increase the module, and second is to increase the number of teeth, because change in a module will hamper the design a lot. So let us change number of teeth while taking care that gear ratio should not change. So let us assume ZP is equal to 21 instead of 18. And for manufacturing gear ratio, what is gear ratio for a per stage? Is 3.6 something, and for a stage 2 it is 2.667. So from this it is 56. So hence modified D3 is 126 and D4 336. And again x, that is a distance between stage 2 gear and output shaft, is x, that is equal to CD minus AB, is 44.636. So x is greater than 20. So this new arrangement is permissible. So there are two ways to increase the piece circle diameter. One is what? To increase the module. But if I am changing the module, I have to change all other things. So, and another way is to increase the number of teeth. Okay. So now it is final. This arrangement is final. Now decision regarding span of different shafts. Okay. So B1, you can see this arrangement. Okay. This is the outer casing and inner casing. These are the bearing arrangement. This is the del is the distance from the casing. Okay. B1 face width of the stage 1. Then B1 is equal to 70 mm and B2 face width of stage 2 and B2 is equal to 60 mm. Okay. So using the reference del is equal to distance between rotating part and inner wall of a housing or casing. Del is equal to 15 mm. Then delta, distance between bearing and inner wall of a housing, and it is equal to this distance, inner wall of a housing and bearing, this delta is equal to 10 mm. And C is the distance between adjacent rotating parts, this distance. So distance between these two gears, two rotating parts, that is the C, is equal to 15 mm. So I will again repeat, del is the what? Distance between shaft and inner wall of a housing. It is 15 mm. Delta is distance between inner housing and bearing is 10 mm. And distance between adjacent rotating part C is a 15 mm. Now for an intermediate shaft, W, let W is the distance between opposite walls of the housing or a casing. Then W is equal to del plus B1 plus C plus B2 plus del. Correct? And so just you have to put down these numbers, you will get a W. And CTC also is what? Center to center distance of the bearing. And it is equal to half B, capital B. B is the axial width of the bearing. Okay, so half B plus delta plus W plus delta plus half B, half of the bearing distance, because we are taking center to center, so half B. So W plus 2 delta plus B. So here it is assumed that for a normal range of the bearing, B will be less than or equal to 30 mm. So you will put the values and you will get the answer. So now with for a same way we have to find out the center distance of a bearing for a shaft 1 also. So it will be this distance B by 2 plus delta del plus B1 by 2. Okay, and you will get the answer. Okay, same way for shaft 2, shaft 3. Now next you have to carry it out. Obviously now you have to carry out a force analysis for stage 1 and stage 2 gears, because this is for the selection of a bearing. Okay. In this